The nation now waits to see who will take over as our next president, where the race for the White House stands at this hour, and how North Carolina voted this election cycle. We're going over it all.
Plus, North Carolina now has a new governor. Democrat Josh Stein is the projected winner, defeating Republican Mark Robinson.
And I am so honored that you have elected me to be your next governor.
We have team coverage this morning with the very latest from local, state, and national races as more results are being reported.
Let's start with the race for the White House, though, on the edge of being called for former President Donald Trump.
Amy Liu has those latest results from Washington.
While the Associated Press has not declared a winner, former President Trump is on the cusp of a victory, which he claimed during a speech earlier this morning.
Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve.
So if we take a look at the map, Trump's electoral count stands at 267 and Harris now at 224. Trump just shy of reaching the 270 benchmark. Now has multiple options to reach that number by carrying any other state. Trump is also leading the popular vote by several million, something he's never won in his two previous runs for the presidency. The candidates' respective watch parties taking on different tones overnight. A party at Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida, while supporters at Harris headquarters in Washington, D.C. went home early after the campaign announced she would not be speaking until later on today.
We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken.
Trump is poised to be the first president after Grover Cleveland to win non-consecutive presidential terms. At the White House, I'm Amy Liu.
Thank you, Amy. And while those results are still being tabulated across the country, as you heard her say, Trump is projected to win North Carolina. As you see here on your screen, he is currently leading with more than 176,000 votes, securing our state's 16 electoral votes. High Point University Associate Professor Martin Keifer joins us now, offering his insight this morning.
Martin, North Carolina was the first swing state to project Trump as the winner, and they have been focusing a lot, both the Harris and Trump campaigns, on this state. Money, time, visits. Trump has been here all weekend through Monday. So what do you make of that for North Carolina's role in this?
Well, one of the things that happened with North Carolina is a return to the trend that we've been seeing over the years, that you have to go back to 2008 to find a Democrat who won statewide here at the presidential level with Barack Obama. And so we've seen that series continue. And so then it's not surprised that, of those states that people are looking at as potential swing states, that we were one of the first to be declared.
What other swing states are we currently watching right now? Because we're looking at the total map and some are still gray.
Yeah, we're still waiting to see what's going to happen finally in Michigan, although it looks like, it may be something that President Trump is going to pick up as well. We're looking at Wisconsin, and then we go out west. We look at places like Arizona and Nevada, which still have some votes to count.
So we'll have that full screen too to show that electoral college count again at this hour as folks are waking up this morning. We have where Trump's currently stands at 267 electoral college, but this is nationwide results right now with 75% precincts reporting. As you see here, that number 51% of the vote goes to Donald Trump. There that is at 267 this morning. So as we've mentioned, 270 is that magic number. Kamala Harris standing at 224.
And we will let you know as soon as he hits that, and we'll keep getting analysis here from Martin Keifer. But right now we want to turn to our governor's race. The latest results there, Attorney General Josh Stein is the projected winner over current Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. Governor Cooper was, of course, unable to run again due to term limits. These results will not be made official until next week. Josh Stein currently holds you can see more than double-digit lead over Republican Mark Robinson. In the race for governor, Stein was campaigning heavily on promises to advocate for public schools and protect women's rights to reproductive health care.
Martin, let's talk about Stein's campaign compared to Robinson. What do you make of the two?
Well, we've got somebody who's running to be elevated from the Attorney General's office, and so somebody who's at least known statewide, and then somebody who has been elected statewide as Lieutenant Governor. So to that extent, they're relatively similar. But in terms of the tones of their campaigns and the kind of money that they finally were able to bring to this race, there were some distinctions. We have polled this race, and the polls actually came down pretty close to what the result was. And that's not always the case. Sometimes these things narrow quite a bit on Election Day.
Yeah, but we can see, 15 percentage points between the two for our state. And that's, I think the last poll that I saw was around 14% difference that Robinson was trailing.
Yeah, when you look at the averages of what people have been doing lately, yeah, it's about 14%. And so they weren't far off. And, this is a relatively decisive victory for the Attorney General here.
Well, thank you, Martin. Let's take a look now closer at the race for our state's lieutenant governor, as Democrat Rachel Hunt is now projected to earn the spot, beating Republican Hal Weatherman. The lieutenant governor presides over the state Senate, but only votes to break a tie. They also sit on several state boards. The job is viewed as a stepping stone to higher office. In the heated race for Superintendent of Public Instruction, now we turn our attention to those results are in, and AP is projecting Democrat Mo Green as the winner with 51.1% of the vote.
There's a really tight race overnight, only being called this morning. Republican candidate Michelle Moreau receiving about 49% of the vote. Let's get out to our Aaron Burnett live in Greensboro, who's been following this race. Aaron, what more can you tell us about Green's path to victory?
Good morning, everyone. The race was super close statewide, but in the triad, Green won by over 15 percentage points in both Forsyth and Guilford counties. In Forsyth County, Green won with nearly 60% of the vote, and in Guilford County, where Green lives, he won with just over 65% of the votes. But it was a tighter race in Alamance County, where Green won by 428 votes. Our team spoke with Michelle Moreau at her election watch party before the race was called. At the time, Moreau said she was feeling confident.
Listen, I'm excited. I know we have run an amazing race. Our message resonates. People want our schools to be safe. They want our kids to get a great education. They want the money to be starting at the classroom rather than up in the boardroom.
We spoke with Mo Green's campaign last night, and it said he would not be speaking until after the race was called, which again was not until after midnight. And we've reached out to his team to talk with Green today and are awaiting a response. And in the next half hour, I'll dive deeper into both campaigns and why this race has been called such a contentious race. In Guilford County, I'm Aaron Burnett, WXII 12 News.